I want you to picture a map, specifically the map of your life.
Okay.
Usually when we look at this map, we're trying to figure out where we're going, right? We have this baked-in idea that life is a journey.
Sure.
We're moving from point A to point B, trying to, pick up happiness, maybe some spiritual enlightenment, and avoid as many potholes as we can. We're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's the standard operating procedure for the human condition. It's a comforting narrative.
It is.
But the source material we have on the desk today, it takes that map, crumbles it up, and just throws it out the window.
Completely out the window. We are looking at a text called The Cosmic Deployment, the soul's mission in density. And just from the title, you can tell this isn't your standard self-help fluff. It doesn't treat your life as a vacation or a school. It treats it as military operation.
It is a radical pivot in perspective. The text explicitly asks the listener, that's you, to stop viewing yourself as a confused human being who is, stumbling around looking for spiritual answers.
Okay.
Instead, it argues that you should view yourself as a cosmic probe, a specialized high-tech packet of consciousness that was sent into the dark on purpose.
Cosmic probe, it sounds a little sci-fi, almost like something out of a NASA briefing.
It does.
But the more I read through this source, the more it actually started to explain the things that usually make no sense, like why life is so hard or why we feel so disconnected.
Exactly. The core argument here is the difference between a journey and a mission. A journey implies wandering, maybe searching for a home you've lost.
Yeah.
A mission implies that you already have a home, but you left it voluntarily to achieve a specific objective in a hostile environment.
And that's what we're going to unpack today. We're going to break down the why and the how of this mission. We'll look at where the source says we started, this place called the plenum.
Right, the plenum.
We'll talk about the technology we're using to be here, specifically the human body, which the text calls a biological diving suit.
A very apt metaphor.
And we are definitely going to get into the most, I think, controversial part of this document. The claim that the hardships you're facing right now, the heartbreak, the financial stress, the physical pain, aren't accidents. The text says they are mission parameters that you actually signed up for.
That is the part that usually triggers the most resistance. But before we get to the struggle, we have to understand the starting line.
Okay.
The source describes our origin point, not as heaven exactly, but as the plenum, or the white space.
Right. The plenum, the text describes this as an infinite white void where all information is one. It's described as total perfection, which sounds, well, it sounds nice.
It does.
Who wouldn't want to stay in total perfection?
It sounds nice to us because we're down here in the mess. But the source makes a very specific philosophical argument about perfection.
Which is?
It argues that the problem with perfection is that it is static.
Static, meaning nothing moves.
Meaning nothing happens. Think about it. If a state is perfect, it cannot change because any change would make it less perfect. So it's frozen. The text suggests that in this white space, everything that can be known is already known.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So it's like, imagine a library that contains every book ever written, every song ever composed, every theory. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yes, but take that analogy further. Imagine that library exists, but there are no patrons. There is no one to read the books.
No one to experience them.
No one to cry over the tragedies or laugh at the comedies. It is just data sitting on a shelf.
More like a hard drive full of the world's greatest music, but there are no speakers to play it.
Precisely. It is potential, but it isn't kinetic. It isn't happening.
Right.
The source argues that for the infinite to actually experience itself, to create something new, it has to fragment. It has to break itself apart. And that is the why behind your existence. You are a fragment of that infinite perfection that volunteered to leave the library.
You volunteered to go out and actually read the book, to play the song.
Even if the song is a sad one, especially if it's a sad one.
So we leave the plenum. The text describes this departure and the arrival here in density, which is what it calls our reality in a really intense way. It mentions stars blurring into streaks of light.
It uses the imagery of warp speed, yes. But what's fascinating is the physics it implies. The source says this wasn't travel across distance, it was data compression.
I highlighted that term, data compression. It feels very technical for a spiritual text.
But it's the only logic that holds up. If you are a massive, boundless, infinite consciousness in the plenum, you simply cannot fit into a three-dimensional reality. You are too big.
You're too loud.
You are too loud, so you have to zip the file.
You have to zip the file.
Think about what happens when you compress a massive high-resolution video down to a tiny email attachment. You lose resolution.
Yeah.
You lose clarity.
You get pixelated.
We are pixelated versions of our higher selves. That is the fog that we feel. The source says we had to strip away our omniscience, our all-knowing nature, just to fit inside the parameters of Earth.
You have to become small to enter the game.
And you have to enter a vehicle. You can't just float around as a ball of light. You need hardware.
And this is where the text introduces my favorite metaphor of the whole piece, the biological diving suit.
It shifts the view of the body completely.
It really does. It says the human body is not who you are. It is the equipment required to survive the environment.
Think about deep-sea exploration. If you want to explore the bottom of the Marianas Trench, you can't just swim down there.
Right.
The pressure, the density would crush you in a millisecond. You need a heavy, reinforced, clunky atmospheric diving suit.
And those suits are awkward.
Incredibly awkward. Inside the suit, you are slow. Your peripheral vision is limited. You can barely move your fingers. And the text argues that this is exactly what the human body is.
Wow.
It is a heavy carbon suit designed to withstand the crushing density of this reality.
This makes me feel a lot better about my knee pain, honestly. The source says the suit is heavy, restrictive, and prone to the hell of physical pain.
But here's the key insight. The pain is not a glitch. The pain is the dashboard feedback.
Okay.
If you are the pilot inside the suit, and the low fuel light comes on or the structural integrity alarm starts beeping, that is pain.
But we usually identify as the pain. We say, I hurt.
Right. And the text wants you to say, the suit is registering damage. It creates a layer of separation. The pilot is observing the red warning lights, but the pilot is not the dashboard.
You are the consciousness using the machinery, not the machinery itself.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the pilot, the cosmic probe, compressed down and jammed into this clunky biological diving suit. We've landed in the density. Now, I have to push back on the next part of the text.
Okay.
Because this is where I think a lot of people might check out or get angry.
Mission parameters.
Yeah. The text claims that before we came down here, while we were still in that compression phase, we selected our parameters. It explicitly says we didn't just fall into a difficult life by accident. It says we specialized in it.
It's a very difficult concept to swallow.
It is. Because if I'm listening to this and I've gone through a divorce, or I'm dealing with a chronic illness, or I grew up in poverty, this text is effectively telling me, hey, you asked for this. That sounds like victim blaming. That sounds cruel. Why on earth would anyone choose the cancer package or the war zone package? Why not choose the billionaire on a yacht package?
Well, that is the natural human reaction. But let's look at the logic the source provides. It comes back to the mission objective.
Yeah.
What is the probe here to do?
Collect data.
It is here to collect data. And the source is brutally honest. Comfort yields little data.
Comfort yields little data.
Let's go back to the training analogy. If you are a Navy SEAL, you don't sign up for a training program where you sit by the pool and drink margaritas.
No.
You sign up for Hell Week. You sign up to be cold, wet, tired, and pushed to your breaking point.
Because that's the only way to test your capacity.
Exactly. If you sit on a beach for 80 years, perfectly happy, with no conflict and no want, what data have you collected about the nature of resilience? What do you know about courage? What do you know about forgiveness?
You can't forgive anyone if no one ever hurts you.
Precisely. You return to the plenum with an empty hard drive. The text suggests that the elite investigators, the most advanced probes, are the ones who volunteer for the highest pressure environments.
Wow.
They are the ones who say, send me into the poverty simulation. Send me into the grief simulation. I want to see if I can hold the light there.
So in a weird way, the difficulty of your life is a testament to the confidence the universe had in you.
The source implies exactly that. It says, if your life is difficult, it is because you were deemed strong enough to carry the signal through the noise. You are a specialist.
I guess that reframes the question from why is this happening to me to what am I supposed to be learning from this specific obstacle course?
And that brings us to the scientific angle the outline mentioned, which I think is crucial here. The battle between entropy and order.
Yeah, the text gets a little physics heavy for a second. It talks about how the universe naturally leans toward chaos.
Right. The second law of thermodynamics. Entropy. In this physical universe, things fall apart. Coffee gets cold. Buildings crumble. Bodies age. The natural flow of density is toward disorder.
It's a downhill slide.
And here you are, a cosmic probe, a living consciousness, which is an agent of order. You are a structure that is trying to hold itself together against the tide of chaos.
So just existing is a fight.
Biologically and spiritually, yes. The mission is to see, can a spark of order maintain its identity while being battered by the chaos of entropy? Can you stay kind when the world is cruel? Can you stay hopeful when the data says you should be hopeless?
That's the crash test.
That is the experiment. The plenum knows what order looks like in a vacuum. That's the white space. It's easy to be good when everything is perfect.
Sure.
The data the universe is hungry for is, what does order look like when it's drowning in entropy?
That makes the human experience feel incredibly high stakes.
But here is the thing that always bugs me about these theories.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm this elite Navy SEAL of the soul, and I volunteer for this mission, why don't I remember the briefing?
Ah, yes. The source calls this the amnesia protocol.
It seems like a design flaw. If I knew this was a mission, I'd handle it so much better. I wouldn't be so stressed.
But would you?
Yeah.
Or would you treat it like a video game?
Well, if I knew it wasn't real, I guess I wouldn't take it as seriously.
Exactly. Think about when you play a video game. You know that if your character falls off a cliff, you just respawn. The stakes are zero.
Right.
So do you feel genuine terror when you fall? Do you feel genuine soul-crushing grief when an NPC dies?
No, it's just pixels.
The source argues that for the data to be valid, the immersion must be total. You have to believe the diving suit is all there is. You have to believe the danger is real. If you remembered your infinite nature, the weight of the experience would vanish.
So the amnesia is what locks us in and makes the heartbreak real. And that reality is what generates the data. But the text does offer a loophole
Right.
or a safety feature. It talks about forbidden knowledge or a tether.
Is this that feeling of, I don't know, homesickness?
Yes.
Yeah.
The text addresses those who have a sneaking suspicion that they don't belong here. People who look at the world and think, this place is crazy, I want to go home.
I think everyone feels that at 3 a.m. sometimes.
The source says that isn't a malfunction. That is the tether. It's a deliberate signal frequency left in your mind to remind you subconsciously that you are not a prisoner.
You are on assignment.
You're on assignment. It's just enough of a memory to keep you from getting completely lost in the illusion, but not enough to break the immersion of the mission.
It's the pilot remembering just for a second that there is a world outside the submarine.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pivot to the final output. We're down here, we're compressed, we're in the suit, we've got amnesia, we're fighting entropy. What is the universe actually getting out of this? We keep talking about data, but what does that actually mean?
This is where the cosmic probe metaphor becomes really beautiful. The source explains that we are the universe's sensory fingertips.
I love that image. The universe isn't just watching us, it's feeling through us.
Imagine the plenum, that infinite brain, as a
Yeah.
brain in a jar. It has all the processing power in existence.
Okay.
But a brain in a jar cannot feel the texture of rough wood. It cannot feel the cold bite of snow. It cannot feel the adrenaline of a first kiss or the gut punch of a betrayal.
It seeds nerves.
It needs us. We are the nerve endings extending into the density. The text says, every emotion you feel, every tear and every triumph is a signal sent back along the filaments of the cosmic web.
So when I'm sitting there completely overwhelmed by grief or anger or even boredom, that's not a waste of time.
It is a data upload. We
Sure.
tend to judge our emotions. We say joy is good, sadness is bad. I need to fix the sadness.
Yeah.
The Cosmic Probe perspective says joy is data, sadness is data. Both are high value.
It's all just information about what happens when light hits the dark.
Correct. You are completing the record of what it means to be alive. You are filling in the blank pages of that library we talked about.
And this leads to the biggest aha moment in the text for me, the big reframe. We spend so much time looking for the light. We want to find the light at the end of the tunnel. We want to find spiritual light.
And the source says, stop looking.
It says, you brought the light here to see what it would do in the dark.
That is the core message. You aren't here to find something you lost. You are the thing you're looking for. You are the foreign agent of order introduced into a chaotic system to observe the reaction.
It's incredibly empowering, isn't it? It takes away the desperation. I'm not a beggar looking for scraps of divinity. I'm the delivery truck.
It shifts you from a seeker to a carrier. If you realize you are the light, then the darkness around you isn't a threat. It's just the canvas you're painting on. It's the necessary contrast.
So let's bring this all together. We've covered a lot of ground today. We started in the static perfection of the plenum, discussed the intense process of data compression, put on our biological diving suits, and looked at the harsh mission parameters of living in a world of entropy.
And we've recognized that our emotions are the stream of data sending everything back to the source.
So for the listener tuning in right now, how do they apply this? Tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes off and the diving suit feels heavy and the world feels loud, what do they do?
I think the application is in the pause.
Hmm.
When you face a struggle, a rejection, a failure, a flat tire, try to pause and view it through the lens of the cosmic probe.
Okay.
Ask yourself, this is a high-pressure environment. What data am I collecting right now?
Instead of spiraling into, why is the universe punishing me?
Mm-hmm.
You ask, what is this teaching the universe?
Yes. Realize that you volunteered for this specific challenge because you were capable of handling it. You're completing the record. It doesn't necessarily make the pain go away. The suit still hurts, but it gives the pain meaning.
Right.
And meaning is what allows us to endure.
And remember the tether. If you feel out of place, it's just a reminder that you're on assignment. You're not stuck here forever.
Yep.
You'll be skipped back into the plenum eventually.
Carrying a story that only you could tell.
That's the key. No one else has your specific data set, your specific mix of triumphs and scars.
Which leads me to a final, somewhat provocative thought I've been mulling over while reading this. It's something the text implies, but doesn't explicitly answer.
Lay it on us.
The source says we return to the plenum carrying our stories. We bring back the messy, chaotic, beautiful human data. But remember, the plenum started as static perfection.
Right. Unchanging. Boring, essentially.
So here's the question. If millions of us return to that white space, pouring all these chaotic, dynamic stories back into the collective consciousness, do we fundamentally change the perfection of the universe?
Oh, wow.
Does the static void become dynamic because of us? Maybe the mission isn't just to learn about the dark. Maybe the mission is to upgrade the light.
We aren't just exploring the universe, we're evolving it. We're the software update.
It certainly makes the Monday morning commute feel a little more significant.
It definitely does. You are the universe's sensory fingertips. Go out there and feel something today. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Until next time.